Imagine this. A man is texting you every day. He seems interested in you. He asks questions about your life and your thoughts. He makes plans with you. He initiates conversations. Everything feels like it is moving in the right direction. You are starting to feel hopeful about what might develop between the two of you. There is momentum. There is effort. There is connection. Then suddenly something shifts. He becomes distant. The messages become shorter. They become less frequent. The excitement that was there before seems to disappear. The effort that he was putting in seems to fade. He responds slower. The warmth in his communication diminishes. And naturally, one question appears in your mind over and over. Why? Did he lose interest in you? Did he change his mind about what he wants? Did something happen? Or is something deeper happening beneath the surface that you cannot see? Today we will explore the psychology behind why many men pull away after getting emotionally close. We will look at what this behavior can reveal about relationships, about attachment, about vulnerability, and about human nature itself. By the end of this video, you might understand that his distance has nothing to do with how much he cares about you. Number 1. The biggest misunderstanding. Most people make an assumption when someone pulls away. They assume that distance equals rejection. If he is being distant, then he must not care. If he is pulling back, then he must have lost interest. This seems logical. But human psychology is rarely that simple. In fact, this assumption is often completely wrong. When someone pulls away emotionally, there can be many reasons. One reason might be that he is losing interest, but there are other reasons too. Sometimes emotional withdrawal is actually a sign that feelings are becoming stronger, not weaker. Sometimes people create distance because the emotions are becoming too intense. Sometimes they pull away because they are afraid of what might happen if they let someone get too close. Sometimes they step back because they are processing something internally and they need space to figure out what they are feeling. The problem is that we cannot read minds. We cannot know what someone is thinking or feeling just by observing their behavior. So we fill in the blanks with our own interpretations. And very often, we jump to the worst possible conclusion. We think the worst-case scenario is the truth. We think rejection is happening when actually something much more complex might be occurring. We take his withdrawal personally when it might have nothing to do with us at all. Here is what is important to understand. Not every step backward means the relationship is ending. Sometimes people create distance because emotions are becoming stronger, not weaker. Sometimes withdrawal is a sign that someone cares so much that they are afraid. Fear can look like distance. Vulnerability can look like rejection. But they are not the same thing. Understanding this is the first step toward not jumping to conclusions about what is really happening. Number 2. Men and emotional conditioning. To understand why men pull away after getting emotionally close, we need to look at how many boys are raised. From childhood, boys receive certain messages about what it means to be a man. Be strong. Do not cry. Do not show weakness. Handle your problems yourself. Do not depend on anyone. Keep your emotions inside. These messages are taught explicitly and implicitly through culture, through families, through media, through peer groups. They become deeply embedded in how men understand themselves and how they relate to the world. Many men are raised to suppress emotions rather than express them. They are taught that emotional expression is a sign of weakness. They learn to hide what they are really feeling. They learn to keep problems to themselves. They learn that asking for help or expressing vulnerability will result in judgment or ridicule. So they develop strategies to cope with emotions internally rather than processing them with other people. When these boys become adults, they often struggle with certain things. They struggle with vulnerability. The idea of being truly known by another person, of having someone see all of them, their fears and insecurities and dreams, feels terrifying. They struggle with emotional communication. They do not have the language or the practice to talk about feelings in a way that comes naturally to them. They struggle with dependency. The idea of needing someone, of relying on another person, conflicts with everything they have been taught about what it means to be a man. This conditioning affects romantic relationships profoundly. A man might be genuinely interested in a woman, but as the relationship develops and emotional closeness increases, he might feel uncomfortable. He might start to panic internally. The vulnerability required for deep connection feels threatening. The dependency that comes with loving someone feels dangerous. So he creates distance. Not because he does not care, but because the intensity of what he is feeling scares him. His conditioning has taught him that this kind of vulnerability is unsafe. Number 3, fear of vulnerability. The closer someone becomes to another person, the more they have to lose. This is a fundamental truth about relationships. When you are getting to know someone, when you are sharing things about yourself, when you are opening your heart, you are taking a risk. You are making yourself vulnerable. You are putting yourself in a position where you could be hurt. For many men, this realization hits hard. As a relationship develops and emotional intimacy increases, he starts to realize what is at stake. He realizes that this person has the power to hurt him. If things do not work out, he could experience rejection. He could experience loss. He could experience pain. This fear can be paralyzing. And in response, people often protect themselves. They build walls. They create distance. They pull away before they can be hurt. There are different fears that drive this behavior. Fear of rejection is one of them. What if he gets too close, and she realizes he is not good enough? What if she sees who he really is and decides she does not want him? This fear can cause him to pull away before rejection happens. Fear of judgment is another. What if she judges him for his insecurities or his weaknesses? What if she thinks less of him because he is not perfect? Fear of emotional pain is also there. Love means the possibility of loss. Closeness means the possibility of heartbreak. And for many men, the pain of that possibility feels too much to bear. What is important to understand is that this behavior, this pulling away, is actually a protection mechanism. It feels like rejection to the other person, but from his perspective, it is self-protection. He is trying to prevent pain by limiting how close he gets. He is trying to maintain control by keeping some distance. People often protect themselves before they can be hurt. This can look like distance. This can look like disinterest. But underneath, there might be fear, not indifference. Number 4, attachment styles. Psychologists talk about something called attachment styles. This is based on how people learn to relate to others early in their lives, usually based on their early relationships with caregivers. These attachment patterns carry into adulthood and affect how people behave in romantic relationships. There are several attachment styles, and understanding them can help explain why certain people pull away. Secure attachment is what we consider healthy. People with secure attachment feel comfortable with intimacy. They can be vulnerable without feeling threatened. They can depend on others and allow others to depend on them. They do not need excessive reassurance. They can communicate about feelings in a healthy way. Secure attachment creates stable relationships where both people feel safe. Anxious attachment is different. People with anxious attachment often crave closeness and reassurance. They may feel insecure about their worth and constantly need validation from their partner. They might be clingy or demanding of attention. They fear abandonment and work very hard to keep relationships intact. But the most relevant to this discussion is avoidant attachment. People with avoidant attachment have a very complicated relationship with intimacy. They desire closeness and connection, but they also have a deep fear of dependence. They fear losing their independence or being controlled by someone else. They feel uncomfortable with too much emotional vulnerability or too much closeness, so they engage in what is called push and pull behavior. In the beginning of a relationship, an avoidant person might be engaging and interested. They might be pursuing the other person. But as the relationship develops and emotional intimacy increases, they start to feel trapped. The closeness that was exciting at first starts to feel suffocating. They pull away. They create distance. Then, after they have pulled away for a while, they might reach back out. The other person gets hopeful again. The cycle repeats. This push and pull can be incredibly confusing and painful for the other person, who does not understand why someone would push away when things are going well. This section usually creates excellent audience engagement because viewers start recognizing themselves or people they know in these descriptions. If you see yourself in the avoidant attachment description, that awareness is the first step toward changing your patterns. Understanding why you pull away can help you make different choices. Number 5. When pulling away means something else. Not every case of pulling away is about attachment psychology. Sometimes the reasons are much more practical and situational. A man might be dealing with significant stress at work. His career might be in flux. He might have a major project that is demanding all of his mental energy. When people are stressed, they often withdraw from their relationships. It is not that they do not care. It is that they do not have the emotional bandwidth for intimacy when they are overwhelmed. Family issues can also cause temporary distance. Maybe a parent is sick or dying. Maybe there is a family crisis. Maybe there is conflict with family members. When people are dealing with family problems, they might not have the capacity to be fully present in a romantic relationship. Career pressure can cause withdrawal. Financial worries can do the same. Personal struggles with mental health, depression, anxiety, or other challenges can make someone pull away. It is important to understand context. Before you conclude that someone has lost interest or that he has a fearful attachment style, consider what else might be happening in his life. Is he dealing with a major stressor? Is something difficult happening that would naturally cause someone to be less available? Sometimes people need space, not because of relationship issues, but because of life issues. Understanding this prevents you from misinterpreting his behavior. Number 6. Signs he is pulling away because he is overwhelmed. If someone is pulling away because he is emotionally overwhelmed, there are certain signs. The most important sign is that communication does not completely disappear. He might respond less frequently, but he still responds. He might send shorter messages, but he still sends messages. He still engages with you, just in a more limited way. He still shows care even though he is pulling back. He might not initiate as much, but when you reach out, he does respond. He might not be as enthusiastic as before, but he is still there. He still makes plans with you, though maybe not as often. He still expresses interest in your life, though maybe not with as much intensity. He remains connected emotionally even though the intensity has decreased. Another sign is that the pullback seems temporary. His withdrawal is not permanent. After a period of distance, he comes back. He re-engages. He shows renewed interest. He apologizes for being distant and explains what was going on. The pattern shows that he is not permanently losing interest but going through a phase. When someone is pulling away because emotions are becoming too intense, the distance is usually a temporary coping mechanism. He is trying to regulate his own feelings. He is trying to process what is happening. But underneath, he still cares. He still thinks about you. He still wants the relationship. He is just managing his own emotional response to the deepening connection. This is very different from someone who has lost interest and is fading you out completely. Number 7. Signs he has truly lost interest. On the other hand, if someone has truly lost interest, there are different signs. The first sign is no effort. He does not initiate. He does not respond to your messages in a timely way. When he does respond, it seems like an obligation, not a desire. He does not make plans. He does not suggest things to do together. The effort has completely dried up. There is no curiosity. He does not ask about your life. He does not seem interested in what you are doing or how you are feeling. Your experiences and thoughts do not matter to him. When you talk, he does not engage deeply. Conversations feel surface level or non-existent. He is not trying to understand you better. There are no future plans. When you talk about the future, he does not seem interested. He does not talk about what is coming next. He does not reference upcoming events or trips or plans. There is no sense that he is imagining a future with you. This is very different from someone who is temporarily overwhelmed but still sees a future together. Most importantly, there is consistent emotional distance. It is not coming and going. It is not temporary. It is a permanent shift. He has emotionally checked out. He might still be physically present, but he is not really there. The person you were getting to know has disappeared. Someone has replaced them who seems indifferent. The difference between temporary withdrawal and permanent disengagement is important. Temporary withdrawal might be about fear or being overwhelmed. Permanent disengagement usually means someone has genuinely lost interest. The key is observing patterns over time. Does he come back? Does he reconnect? Does he explain and re-engage? Or does the distance only increase? The pattern will tell you what is really happening. Number 8. Understanding versus accepting. Why men pull away after getting close is not always about losing interest. Sometimes it is about fear. Sometimes it is about vulnerability. Sometimes it is about attachment patterns developed long before they ever met you. Sometimes it is about emotional conditioning that taught them to see closeness as dangerous. Sometimes it is about stress or life circumstances that have nothing to do with the relationship. Understanding this is important because it prevents you from internalizing rejection that may not actually be rejection. It prevents you from making his behavior about your worth. It helps you recognize that his pulling away might be more about his own internal struggles than about how he feels about you. This understanding can help you respond with compassion instead of anger. It can help you set healthy boundaries instead of chasing someone who is running away. But understanding does not mean accepting unhealthy behavior. You can understand why someone is pulling away and still decide that you are not willing to be in a relationship with someone who cannot communicate about what is happening. You can understand attachment patterns and still require that your partner do the work to develop healthier patterns. Healthy relationships require understanding, but they also require communication, effort, and willingness to grow. The strongest relationships are not built by chasing someone who pulls away. They are not built by accepting toxic behavior because you understand the psychology behind it. They are built by two people who feel safe enough to stay, two people who can communicate about what is happening, two people who are willing to do the work to overcome their fears and attachment patterns. If you are in a relationship where someone is consistently pulling away and refuses to talk about it or work on it, that is information. That tells you something about whether this relationship can be healthy. You deserve someone who stays. You deserve someone who can be vulnerable with you. You deserve someone who, when they feel afraid, can communicate about it instead of just disappearing. You deserve someone who chooses you consistently, especially when things get hard. Understanding why people pull away is helpful, but it should never become an excuse to accept treatment that makes you feel unvalued or abandoned. You are worth pursuing. You are worth effort. You are worth someone staying even when they are scared. Have you experienced a man pulling away? What did you learn from that experience? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe to this channel for more content about relationship psychology, attachment styles, and couple dynamics. These conversations matter. They help us understand ourselves and each other better. Watch the next video on your screen to continue exploring the psychology of relationships. Thank you for being here.